Hi guys! Wow. Thank you guys for coming tonight, where we're going to be talking about science fiction board games and how the mechanics match the flavor. Before that, a couple of quick announcements. We're doing this meeting as a co-sponsored by RWAG, which we are lucky to have the president, Mr. Everett Kline. And we're both here to talk to you about RUNICON. RUNICON is going to be this upcoming weekend, February 26th to the 28th. Star is going to be there. We're going to be running Artemis, which is our spaceship simulator. Lots of fun if you have it. We're also going to be selling cold drinks during the day if you ever get thirsty and don't feel like going all the way to Bites. We're also going to be playing Stars Against Humanity, which is our own homebrewed adaptation, or our own expansion for Cards Against Humanity. RWAG is going to be doing everything. There's going to be board games, video games, miniature games, tabletop role-playing games, lectures, panels.
Don't forget Pentathlon.
And the Pentathlon. You want to talk about the Pentathlon?
Sure. The Pentathlon is a sequence of events of various games, board game, card game, video game, and the like, where teams compete to nominate the king of games, or the team that's the king of games.
Did you just make a Yu-Gi-Oh reference?
Just a little bit. Don't worry, Yu-Gi-Oh's not in there.
Okay.
Great. So yeah, that's coming up. Definitely be there. Shirts, T-shirts. T-shirts are happening. Our first run have been ordered. If you are interested in pre-ordering a shirt, come talk to us. And sure.
Oh, sure. I do anything. Alright. I also do the book club thing. The book club is finishing up to Android's Dream of Electric Sheep. So we'll be finishing that up, and we'll talk about that next meeting when we meet before Star outside in the comfy chairs, and we will be deciding, or rather confirming, since I've gotten a hell of a lot of requests for the Shatnerverse fanfic.
Shatner fanfiction. Shatnerverse!
So please come and save me from having to read that and help us decide the next actual piece of literature to read. In other news, we're also forming a Relay for Life team as Star. And we're going to run/walk/crawl helplessly along the track to save and cure the galaxy of cancer. So if you'd like to join the Relay for Life team, we have a channel on the Slack, and in our emails and Facebook posts, we've got a link that you can click on to go to the page to join the team. Entry fee is $10, goes to a great cause, and I'd love to see you there. I'd love to enjoy your company all night, not in that sense. And it's also just a great time to hang out, so check that out too.
All right, thank you so much. I'm now going to pass it off to the head of one of our other committees. This one's Starfest, led by Justin Reed.
All right, so Starfest is our biggest event of the year. I see a lot of new faces, so for those of you who aren't aware of Starfest, we're running it like a convention. There will be games, panels, lightsaber duels, music, dancing, food, and lots of other things, which you can see on the posters that Zachary was waving around and is continuing to wave around. We normally meet on Saturdays, but this week with RUNICON, we're moving our regular meeting time. So if you want to join us, you can join us on Wednesday at a time which I just had, 6 o'clock, in the SAU room 1010, which is right downstairs. So that'd be awesome. Volunteer and panel registration is up. Is volunteer registration up?
Panel registration is up. Volunteer registration opens soon.
Okay, that opens soon. So if you want to help out in any way, there will soon be a way for you to do that in any capacity. And we hope to see you there. I was probably supposed to keep talking. I'm still keep demonstrating that.
Fill the space a little bit.
Sorry, I was anticipating you taking longer than that.
All right, cool. That was going to be my last note. So I think that is all the announcements we have this week. So with that out of the way, I'm going to pass it off to Everett, who is going to talk a little bit about board games.
Just a little bit about the fun things that we do. Just a bit.
Oh no.
Don't break it.
Anyway, so as Ryan said, I'm Everett Kline, president of RWAG, and I'm here to talk about board games. Before I get too much into it, though, a little bit of terminology. The three terms that you're probably going to hear a lot of today and from me are fluff, flavor, and crunch. Now, aside from being tasty little things for when you eat, those also relate to rough descriptions of board games. So, first being fluff, often refers to the lore surrounding or behind the board game, kind of extraneous details that you don't necessarily need to know in order to enjoy the board game, but it makes that much more satisfying when you do. Flavor is the reflection of fluff via mechanics. That meaning to say, let's say you're doing a starship traveling type game. For example, Galaxy Travel, or anything else in that venue. You could just say, oh, you run into asteroids or suffer damage as you go along with the ship. But it can be introduced in a more flavorful way if you are traveling a dangerous trade route and happen to take damage, or something along those lines. Which brings us to our last terminology, crunch. Named after number crunching, which some of you may or may not have to have done in your life, where you take numbers and break them down into things that resemble what happens in the game. Thank you, Ryan. And those are the three main components that go into making a good game. Question?
What do you consider risk under? Risk.
Risk?
Yes.
I consider risk under crunch, to be
Okay.
perfectly honest.
I mean, Risk has some flavor, which is reflected in the crunch, but all board games have, to some degree, crunch and flavor, and it can sometimes fluff.
Yeah, sometimes fluff can be resembled very well. Well, risk can be very well exampled. But, so some of the best kinds of sci-fi board games are ones that incorporate all three of these elements in a delightfully fun bundle, as compared to some things that are basically shameless name branding. Who here has actually played StarCraft Monopoly or Star Wars Monopoly?
Actually, I played Star Wars Monopoly like StarCraft Monopoly.
StarCraft Monopoly is a thing. I saw it the other day.
I played a Star Wars Monopoly a long time ago at my summer camp.
A long time ago in the galaxy far, far away.
I played Doctor Who Risk,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually just a short version of Risk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you want to play a Risk game that does not take an entire day, I would recommend that one.
Mm-hmm. But so those are already pre-existing games that have had science fiction stapled onto them, as compared to games that are built purely for that science fiction universe. Yes?
I played this one Harry Potter game, which was like a Clue clone, but it wasn't officially an official Clue game.
Mm-hmm. But it was similar enough to it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where if you had played Clue, you would kind of know how to play the Harry Potter Clue?
Mystery at Hogwarts.
History at Hogwarts.
You know, it's the same like person, item, location.
Person, item, location.
Who gets murdered?
Well,
A number of people, I suppose.
well,
That's the mystery.
Who did this? Who did the spell thing?
Mhm. So with me today, I brought up a number of board games from the RY closet. So, several of which I imagine most of you will recognize, like XCOM, or Firefly, or Legendary Encounters with Predator, or Star Wars Armada, or Portal. Those are all games that were built in mind of the universe that they came from. The only exception being Legendary Encounters, but that's because it uses a different game engine.
And I brought my own Mega Man board game.
Yeah, and they make money for it, yeah. But, so, as you play through tonight, it's something to keep in mind of how much the mechanics in the game reflect the universe itself. Because a number of them do it in various interesting ways. Sadly, I was not able to bring Legendary Encounters with me, which is a board game card game based off of the Alien franchise. Those Alien movies starting with Ridley Scott. A few nodding heads.
Are going to rework?
I expected that response from you, Mario. Very much. Anyway, who's familiar with the Alien movies? Oh, most of you. So one of the mechanical things that can happen in that is that you could be confronted by a face hooker. And if you don't kill it in time, it will add a chest burster card to your deck. If at any time you draw the chestburster card, you die. And that is one of my personal favorite examples of the fluff being excellently represented in the mechanics of the game itself.
Another really sweet example that I think of is Robo Rally. I don't know if any of you have played Robo Rally. Cool. Well, it's not necessarily my favorite game. However, what I really appreciate is that you control a robot by programming it in lines. You you play a sequence of cards before the round begins, and then over the course, it executes each individual action, kind of like a robot going through lines of code. And then the more damaged it gets, the less code it can hold. And it leads to win more, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a really neat example of flavor matching the mechanics.
Does anyone else have any other comments or questions? No? Okay. Well, here comes the, well, on this side.
No, I was just going to go into the
Yeah,
examples.
that's. Next is the hands-on part, so to speak. Well, we've set up a number of these board games, and we encourage all of you to go ahead and give them a try. And feel free to discuss amongst yourselves or with anybody passing by of how you feel the fluff and the lore of the universe is reflected in the board game itself. Now we have Firefly, Tragedy Looper, Kings of Tokyo, Portal, Star Wars Armada, Legendary Encounters, and then a couple other board games up here. And we may bring out some other ones during the night. You shall see. But otherwise, have that. Go play. Remember, fun is mandatory.
All right.